So, welcome all to this online session. Last year, after the Pahalgam attack and Operation Sindoor, we had successful sessions, especially the session of the senior activists and youth. We had 100 participants, and then there were sessions on journalists and South Asia Union, and 7 or 8 sessions. But somehow, you know, we lost the steam and got busy with other things. But recently, we read that some back channel diplomacy has started. Some retired bureaucrats and retired military officials have met somewhere, possibly in Gulf, and started the process of dialogue, although it has not been confirmed by the Ministry of External Affairs. Manish Shankarji will tell us what is the truth. And then a senior RSS leader, after returning from United States, said that we should start dialogue with Pakistan. And as everybody knows, RSS is kind of the uh, guiding light of the ruling party in India. And also we played 2 cricket matches, although our captains did not shake hands. Uh, so some things have been happening, and we thought we should begin the civil society dialogue process, and we will have several of them. Next one is being planned for youth, and possibly a physical meeting, either in India or Pakistan, if the governments give permission, or in Gulf or some other neighboring country. So this is the background, and I welcome all speakers, and I am very happy that everybody has joined. Um, uh, all of them have been involved in peace process for at least several decades, uh, and we could do much more earlier, but now we are restricted. In the last you know uh, 12 years or so, we have failed to have any physical meeting in India and Pakistan between activists, which was so common, before 2014. So we are looking for a revival of relationship, at least at the people-to-people level, if not at the government level, although we hope that the governments would start talking too, because both India and Pakistan at this point are playing very important roles in world peace. Pakistan mediating peace between US and Iran, and Modi expected to intervene in Russia-Ukraine war. So we hope that the two countries will also start talking to each other. Uh, at this point, I would like to request Bina Sarwar, uh, journalist from Pakistan, now based in Boston, runs a network called SAPAN South Asia Peace Network, doing very important work among activists of South Asia. So please, Bina, take over and take the session forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, for organizing. And Deep, is Deep here? Can somebody call her and see if she's not here to please get her on?
Yeah.
And so thank you, Sandeep, so much for initiating this very important session. As many of you will remember, we did several sessions last year as well. And when South Asia Peace Action Network put out a call for peace between India and Pakistan and said that there should be no conflict, we got some more than 5,000 signatures in less than 48 hours. So, there really is a desire for peace. Even in this meeting now, I'm getting messages from people saying, trying to join, but you're at capacity, tried to join, but you're at capacity. So people really do want to, and this might be just a very few people, but but people who are being vocal now are doing so at a lot of risk, because I just spoke this morning with a wonderful singer in Jammu, and she said that जब भी मैं बात करती हूँ पीस की तो मेरे ऊपर लोग जो हैं वो हमला करते हैं. So it's dangerous right now to even talk of peace. So I applaud the courage and commitment of all those who are here. And I will thank you, Sandeep, for your opening remarks, putting it in context. I'll just say one very quick word about South Asia Peace Action Network. And most of you who are here have endorsed the SAPAN founding charter, which calls, because the idea was to, that because India, Pakistan, जो है उनकी टकराव चलता रहता है, and we can't, like I just said, you talk about peace between India and Pakistan and becomes very difficult to do that. And why don't we talk about it on a regional level? Because this relationship is ruining the whole region, development of the entire region. And as Dr. Mubashir Hassan, one of the founders of the Pakistan India People's Forum for Peace and Democracy, and many of you who are here, happy to see so many old friends, members of PIPFPD, as he said, that if France and Germany can be part of a European Union after centuries of war and not even anything in common in culture, why can't India and Pakistan? So South Asia Peace Action Network aims to kind of promote that narrative. And like I said, most of you here are endorsers of the founding charter, which has more than 100, that had about 150 organizations and hundreds of individuals. And I see several of you who are here. So if somebody can put the link in the chat, or I'll do it afterwards. But I will, first of all, ask Dr. Pervez Hoodbhoy to speak, and all the speakers will speak for about 5 to 7 minutes. And we have a stellar lineup of speakers. And yes, as Lalita Ramdas pointed out, these are all veterans of the peace movement, and as Sandeep also pointed out. And the next one will be about peace, about youth. And there should be some in which both are, I think, speaking together as well, not just separate. So Dr. Pervez Hoodbhoy does not need any introduction. None of the speakers today actually do, for any of these few who are here. But as you all know, that he's a physicist, he's a leading public intellectual of Pakistan. And we are absolutely delighted that he's spared the time to join us in the middle of, at a time of very difficult. Pervez, if I may just say, just a moment of condolence also for the passing of your sister Naseem Salahuddin, who was a revered medical professional in Pakistan. So we really appreciate, in the middle of your personal, feelings, for you taking the time out to join. So Pervez, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bina. And greetings to everyone from Islamabad. The question that was posed by Sandeep is a very important one. At a time when Pakistan is playing the role of peacemaker in the US-Israel versus Iran war, and Modi is doing what he is in Ukraine and Russia, why do the two countries not speak to each other? So I will try to give an answer to that, but let's look first of all at how this all came to be. उर्दू में कहते हैं कि यहाँ गंगा उल्टी बह रही है. So the Pakistani generals, who are known for waging war, for creating militant groups, have suddenly found themselves as peacemakers on the global scale, which is very, very amazing. And we know how this happened. It was initiated by Operation Sindoor, Pakistan's downing of 5 or 6 Indian jets, which then caused General Asim Munir to become Field Marshal Asim Munir. It raised the prestige of the Pakistan army enormously, and our civilian government, which is just an addendum to the military rulers, jumped on this. And of course, the flattery of Donald Trump was key to this, nominating him for the Nobel Prize and then joining the Board of Peace. So that then made Pakistan an ally of the Trump administration, and it is seeking to reduce its difficulties in Iran through Pakistan. I must say that this has been extremely fortunate for the Pakistani establishment, because this has taken away the image of Pakistan as being a state exporting terrorism to one of a global peacemaker. So it's like a windfall, similar to what happened after the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979, when we suddenly became allies of the United States again. And that caused General Ziaul Haq to stay in power for the next 11 years. Similarly, after 9/11, General Musharraf, who was in the boondocks, then found that he was a favorite of the Bush administration, and he stayed on for another 8 years. So they're reaping the dividends right now. The IMF and Saudi Arabia are giving more loans to Pakistan. An economy which was sinking is now, well, not doing well, but certainly it is not going down. The foreign exchange reserves have gone up to $18 billion, whereas earlier they had been close to $4 to $5 billion. So that's a fourfold improvement over there. Plus, remittances have been very high these last 2 months. So all is very good. But within Pakistan, the story is very different. There is no negotiation, no attempt at making peace with anyone who opposes the military establishment. All who are fighting in Balochistan against Punjabi rule are being characterized as agents of India. The TTP, which was the creation of the Pakistan establishment, has turned into its most bitter enemy. And today, Pakistani jets are bombing Kabul and Kandahar and cities all over Afghanistan. And yet, the TTP and the Afghan Taliban are being called agents of India. And what's more recent is what has happened in the Pakistan-administered part of Kashmir, where there's been a local issue, and they too, those who are protesting the streets, and half a dozen people or so have died, are being called agents of India. So, well, I know that in the next hour or so, there are going to be speakers who will say that this is exactly the situation in India, that those who speak for peace with Pakistan are called agents of India and all. And of course, Indian Muslims are being especially targeted and so forth. But now I'm going to come back to the question raised by Sandeep. Why this hostility? Why this desire? Why this refusal to speak with each other? And the answer is because on the Pakistan side, the government derives its legitimacy from fighting India as the perpetual enemy. It knows that it has a government. So the nominally elected government today stole an election. It was stolen from Imran Khan, who is enemy number one in the eyes of the Pakistani establishment. He is safely tucked away in jail at the present time. But for reasons of domestic legitimacy, everything has to be blamed on India. And I let our Indian friends speak about how it is on their side. But now let me come to what can be done and what we shouldn't try to do. I have only 3 or 4 points. Number one, restore the internet traffic between India and Pakistan, which is presently blocked. So I cannot access from Islamabad the print, the wire, the Hindu, or anything which has got a .in at the end. And that means that our two populations are being cut away from each other, being kept ignorant of what is happening in each other's countries. Point number two, reduce visa restrictions and make them like what used to happen back in the 60s and 70s. And I'm sure Manishankar Iyer will have a lot to say about that, because he was then the Indian Consul General in Karachi at that point. And so we need to get back to the point where Indians and Pakistanis can physically meet. And so, Sandeep, yes, you're absolutely right. We've got to try to meet physically with each other. Zoom is fine, but I can't go out and it's very different. We need to sit around a table. We need to relax. We need to listen to music, and that can only be done when we are with each other. We need to stop this nonsense of preventing overflights. It's causing a huge amount of damage to the world economy, to each other's economy as well. So many flights have to take a very long way. And by the way, I was with General Musharraf in his office back in 1993, when he was gloating over the fact that he had stopped those overflights. And finally, I'll say, we've got to respect each other's sovereignty. Sovereignty is not a great thing, but it's not even a good thing, I think. But things being what they are, we've got to stop interfering in each other's affairs. Pakistan's got to stop the infiltration of jihadis into the Indian part of Kashmir, and that pretty much has stopped. So let's declare that. It stopped because of the fence, it stopped because of the global situation. And similarly, India, where some people have tried to say that, yeah, we're going to needle them in Balochistan as tit for tat. Well, that nonsense has to stop. So I'm suggesting, finally, what we need is a Bharat-Pakistan Dosti movement, which has to be based outside, because people here will be targeted if they do that. And so, Bina, you might want to consider that. And it should be thoroughly restricted to just a handful of points. I think Nayyar is going to talk about them later on. So this is the thing that can possibly work. And if the Janata Cockroach Party can work, well, maybe this will go some ways towards that.
Thank you, Pervez. Thank you so much for sticking to about 7 minutes. I was going to say when you reach 6 minutes, I was going to say 1 minute left, but then you said final points. So I said that's fine, and we don't have to be that strict. But thank you so much for making those very important points. And Fauzia has posted the link in the chat of the Sapan Founding Charter as well, which as I said, most of you are already part of it. Thank you so much for making those points and providing more background and context. I'm going to now ask Radha Kumar, is she here? Writer and policy activist from India, who has done a lot of work, especially on the Kashmir side as well. Hi, Radha, good to see you. Last time we met was in Germany many, many years ago. And we met again in Afghanistan. Speaking of Afghanistan, as Pervez has pointed out, Afghanistan, there was a India, Pakistan, Afghanistan women's meeting that we met at, which was really, I think, so good and, really needs to be revived maybe now. But yes, please, Radha, you have about 6 or 7 minutes. So when you reach about 6 minutes, should I just wave or just interrupt you and just say, hey, 1 minute left?
Yes, you can certainly do that, though I think I'm going to take much less time.
Wonderful.
Partly because you have so many speakers. And let me take off a little bit from what Pervez was saying. I'm not going to describe the situation in India because I think that most people here are quite familiar. Indeed, we're also familiar with the fact that South Asia, most of the countries of South Asia are actually plunged in turmoil and perhaps old ideas of democracy are being challenged. Now, to what extent are they yielding to new ideas? I don't know. But what I can say is that even old people like me are having to come out and fight very hard indeed. And to depart a little bit from what Pervez was saying, I actually think that one of the issues that perhaps concerns us in all the countries of South Asia is how we can try to save what little remnants of democracy we have in our countries, what we can do somehow to put up barriers against the onslaught that we are all facing. Our institutions almost everywhere, perhaps to different degrees and in different scales, have been corrupted completely. So the even small defenses that civil society used to have, it does not have anymore. And this is an area where we need to support each other to the greatest possible extent. Let me also highlight human rights. And in the case of our countries, what few rights women had were also being threatened. We are now facing as well a situation where free and fair elections no longer seem to be possible in our countries. So here's another set of issues where we can unite quite well. In other words, the purpose over here is to provide perhaps a larger regional framework for us to move forward on India-Pakistan, which I will say was very much the understanding that led to the breakthroughs that Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh on our side were able to make. It was very much embedding India, Pakistan, and Kashmir within a larger framework of regional peace and prosperity. Now, small things. I absolutely agree that a physical meeting would be wonderful and should happen. Also, it seems most likely that a third country in our region could be host. Having said that, Sandeep had flagged the statement by Hosabale of the RSS saying that there should be dialogue. And I think that we should write a letter to him saying then kindly write to the Ministry of External Affairs to give us all visas so that such a meeting and such a dialogue can take place. You've already earlier done statements of India-Pakistan women. The women's connection is something to build further on. You know, as far as youth is concerned, one of the problems is that anyone who's looking for a job or who is working is under such threat. There's so much fear on that. We are hoping very much that the Cockroach Janata Party, whatever its nomenclature, might help make a little breakthrough over there so that our young people feel a little more empowered or emboldened. But it's going to take time. All of these things are going to take a lot of time, and small steps are possibly the only steps that are available at the moment. And I would say the first small step should be to try to do a physical meeting. Thank you. I'll stop there.
Thank you so much, Radha. You kept well within your time. Thank you so much. Completely agree. We need to just take the steps that we, and this is one such step. South Asia Peace is one such step. The meetings that PIPFPD have recently had are such steps. To have a physical meeting definitely would be good. But again, you know, the way that PIPFPD worked was that everybody paid for their own fare and the host kept put them up, and it's not a funded thing. And right now, I think how to take that forward within India and Pakistan. I don't see. I wish Sandeep, aapke muh mein ghee shakkar. If the governments give visas right now, they're not even giving visas to medical people who need medical treatment are not being given visas. Families whose loved ones are dying or they have to attend a wedding or something are not being given visas. So it's I think right now, actually, it is probably the worst it has ever been in terms of allowing people to meet. The more we have become connected digitally, the less we have become connected physically. So I will now ask Sheema Kermani, who again doesn't need any introduction. especially to this crowd. Sheema Kermani is a well-known activist, founder of Tehreek-e-Niswa, the movement for women. She's a well-known Bharatnatyam, Odissi, Kathak dancer and dance trainer. And she just recently participated in and organized this wonderful World Dance Day Festival in Karachi that I was privileged to witness, and also the Kathak Festival in Lahore that just recently took place. And it is wonderful, Sheema. It's wonderful to see you in Karachi also, and wonderful to see you here, and for all the decades of work and commitment you've put in. So, and you've been part of this peace process as well, like all the other speakers. So please, all yours. You're, I think, perhaps muted, Seema?
Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
there you. Yes, now
Yeah.
we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Veena. Yes, thank you. I'm very happy to be here. I won't take much time because I think I totally agree with the things Pervez said. I totally agree with the things Radha said. I will just reiterate that what I had thought of saying, but I think Pervez has also mentioned it. One was I feel that it is very, very important for the social media and for the internet to open up between the two countries, because it is something that we need to share with each other. I mean, I keep on sending my friends in India stuff from here, but they can't access it, and vice versa. So that is something I think in the resolution that we are proposing, if we can add that, because I read that resolution and we didn't have that there, as far as if I remember right. So if we can note that, Sandeep, I think that is a very, very important point. And then the other thing that I wanted to bring to people's notice, we all know the kind of communal hatred that has increased in India. But at the same time, I mean, it has certainly increased here in Pakistan as well. And the more conflict that these two countries remain in, the more crises that we have, the more wars that we go through, these communal hatreds keep on increasing. And I just wanted to add here that we've always talked about our shared culture, shared histories, shared dance, music. I mean, sitar is the same here, sitar is the same there, dance is the same. But the kind of vitriolic hatred that is now coming from India on maybe, I mean, if I mention somebody like myself, when I talked about the kind of the dance styles that I practice here in Pakistan, Bharatnatyam, Odissi, and I'm saying that this is part of our historical cultural heritage, but you can't imagine the kind of hatred that is being spewed, and it is being linked to, and it is being said that this is appropriation of Indian culture. So I mean, this is just something so weird. I mean, instead of saying that yes, we of course have our shared histories, our shared cultures, what we are now throwing at the Pakistanis, the dancers, the musicians, is that you are appropriating Indian culture. So I wanted to bring that to people's notice, that this has been happening in the last couple of months, very, very strongly, and an incredible amount of hatred is being thrown onto this. And so I just wanted to bring this to everybody's notice, that we need to think about this. Why is this happening? Of course, the Hindutva, the hegemonic, monolithic, homogeneous culture that they want to project there, and of course, this is what we have all been trying to do right from the beginning here. So basically, both the countries are doing the same thing. I also want to bring to everyone's notice that people from Sindh, at least, I'm talking about Sindh, musicians are actually leaving this country. I personally know two musicians, very good folk musicians, who crossed the border and left Pakistan. So these are things that are very, very worrisome. The other thing I wanted to point out, my last point, was about the increased violence against women that is happening both in India and in Pakistan. And I think that is also linked to all this, the communal hatred because in India that violence is certainly a lot against Muslim women, but which doesn't mean that Hindu girls don't face violence there. But the kind of physical violence, brutal kind of violence that has increased in Pakistan also, it's linked to this whole militaristic jingoism, the language, the machoism that we try to promote and project, in our culture. So we need to sort of, look at these points, I think, to so that we can move forward towards a more peaceful, more a culture of peace. I know my time is over. So these are the points I wanted to bring to everybody's notice. Yeah, that is it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sheema. Thank you so much for your comments and bringing in the very important point about culture. That like you wearing a sari or me wearing a sari is not cultural appropriation either, and the sitar and the sarod and the notes of sur tal to sab ek hi hain. And I think I just want to
sorry, एक आखिरी point था, sorry Beena,
yeah,
वो ये था कि
sure.
we should also try add that to open channels for artists
To meet,
get together
right,
and do collaborations, because that bonds us, that brings us
right.
together. Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
So absolutely, and that's the third point in the Sapan founding charter, as you know, which you endorsed. And the last point is to have collaboration and cooperation in all areas. Art, culture, sports, science, everything. I just want to make one point here before moving on to the next speaker very quickly, which links, Sheema, to your point about the rise in vitriolic hatred that's come out. I would just pose to this gathering here that this is very much linked to the rise in social media, because social media has activated the reptilian parts of our brain, because we are constantly in fight or flight or freeze mode, because the human brain is not meant to process bad news 24/7, which is happening now. So constantly everybody is reactive, and you have a platform and you just spew out whatever comes in your head. So it's not that everybody has a good and a bad side, but the social media has enabled the bad side to also really come jumping out. And unless we are very mindful about how we respond and react online, I think that this downward spiraling will continue. Now, I'm going to go on now to Rita Manchanda, who is also, believe the co-convener, Rita, of the PIPFPD, the Pakistan India People's Forum for Peace and Democracy, which a forum that started in 1994 or 95. And I was honored to be part of the very first meeting that took place in Delhi, when I was co-opted by Dr. Mubashir Hassan and Asma Jahangir and mentors like that. And PIPFBD, of course, has kept the torch alight for this space. And since the physical meetings have stopped, has also held several online meetings. And Rita's article that was also in the wire about the last PIPFPD meeting. So Rita, we published it in Sapan News. I'm sorry, we tried to do it earlier, but because of the backlog, we weren't able to. So it was just, I believe it was published today. We started something called Media Mirror, which takes articles from either side. Pervez, to your point that you can't read each other's. So articles, we can't publish everything, but when we have access, when we get permission, then we can publish that piece with a note saying that this is being published in the public interest, so that people on the other side of the border can read it. So we have 2 or 3 articles like that lined up right now, and we will be publishing those as well. So Rita, it's floor is yours. Please.
Thank you, Beena. And Beena, if you remember, you and I were note takers at the first forum meeting. And thank you, Sandeep, for convening this Zoom conversation. I'm going to make 3 very quick points. One, I had hoped that Lolly would speak first and talk about the forum's meeting. I want to shift the narrative away from the pessimism that Sandeep articulated, to say that we were able to hold a national convention. That does not mean that we do not get labeled anti-national, that there isn't a huge risk, that there are costs and consequences, that it was very, very difficult for us to find even a venue. We weren't even sure how many people would take the risk to come. We were told, why don't you remove Pakistan? Then they will come. And so via media of culture and politics, a hybrid medium of culture and politics, of culture as resistance, which is in fact reflected in the name Ishq, Siyasat Awam, Why Peace Matters. And what was very significant about it was not only the fact that it was a success in terms of the kind of people who came, but for two reasons, I think the forum was very significant. And one was the ability to actually present a coalition of the oppressed. You know, it's often asked, what does it mean, PIPFPD, when it comes to Chhattisgarh, or when it comes to Jharkhand, or when it comes to Chennai or Bangalore? What does it mean for forest dwellers? What does it mean for fish workers? What does it mean for students? I think what we were able to do, and a lot of credit goes to Vijayan, the General Secretary, for this, was to actually draw in all these younger people, an intergenerational mix of the coalition of the oppressed. It emphasized why peace matters, why it's not an empty slogan, why peace and democracy, economic justice, social justice are all interlinked. And I think the very fact that we were able to hold the National Convention, that it was so successful, shows that yes, people are scared. Yes, there are consequences, but it's still possible. And sometimes I think we restrain ourselves a little more than we need to. And here I want to just pick up some of the salient points that I tried to develop in my article, which is why I think that there are straws in the wind. Speaking from an Indian perspective, it's not only that the RSS General Secretary made this statement about people-to-people contact and encouraging civil society to take the lead, but we had General Navrane also say this. And in several meetings that I have gone to, book releases, seminars, I've heard not only former army chiefs, but I've heard our high commissioners to Pakistan and and they've all articulated unhappiness at the rigidity of, in fact, our policy. And that is, terror and talks don't go together. They've all said we need to have more flexibility in the diplomatic tools before us. And this is Army Chief Deepak Chopra. This is Raghavan, whom I think all of you know. I mean, several high commissioners that we've had. Then, I mean, you have to ask yourself, what is the political urgency of why are these people saying these things? Why are they thinking like this? And I would like to pull out just three things. As you all know, ever since the new regime, which has now been in power the longest, we've had a change in terms of how does one react to any act of terror, cross-border terror. There is this saying of Prime Minister, when he was Chief Minister, Narendra Modi had said that we're not supposed to watch when there's a terror attack. We need to act. So they did act. They acted in Uri. They acted in Balakot, they acted in Pahalgaon. And these are all that if there would be an inbuilt in this is military escalation. But what does military escalation do? It predicates that every time there's a terror attack, there is going to be a kinetic action, that there is going to be a further military escalation. But after Operation Sindhur and the analysis of what happened, the whole, the revelation of the China-Pakistan military co-joining, then there is a great hesitation in terms of a military response. November 2025, we had what is called the White Coat terror attack in Delhi. But there was no reaction. In fact, there was no Pakistan bashing. Pakistan was not even mentioned, because you mention it, then you limit then you will have to act. So there is a sense of that you've actually trapped yourself. And then, of course, our whole policy is in shambles in terms of seeking to isolate Pakistan. That was our policy, and we were rather hubristic in thinking that we could do that. But today, as in fact Pervez has mentioned, Pakistan, for whatever reasons, has emerged on the ascendant, and it is, instead of India the peacemaker, it is very much Pakistan the peacemaker, and the whole issue of our Vishwaguru, strategic autonomy and all is highly compromised. There is this sense that our foreign policy is just not working. And this is, in fact, resulting in a lot of rethinking. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. We have embedded so much the whole terror and talk equation that it's going to be very difficult to shift that narrative. But I see that it is happening because it's not working at all. We still have this triumphal projection of our Prime Minister on the international stage. But I think it's very clear what is happening in terms of the way that our strategic autonomy, the way that our relationship with the US, and it has been really very compromised. I have always argued that if we can have a transactional coexistence with China, why can we not do it with Pakistan? Exactly. Here, we're not talking about being friends, but we're talking about coexisting and eventually going beyond the zero-sum game. Recently we've had, today, in fact, I read about India will deny all water to Pakistan, and this is the Indus Waters Treaty. This kind of language, I really, from our ministers, well, certainly, these days, anything and everything goes. But what is important, and that is our responsibility, the role of civil society, to bring out that while our ministers are saying this, what is happening on the Punjab side? In July 2025, when there was a threat of floods in East Punjab, what did the West Punjabis do? They, in fact, lowered the gates of the Suleiman Dam and allowed the water to flow so that there wouldn't be this kind of devastating floods in East Punjab. And the burden would be shared. Now, there was, of course, no acknowledgement of this. No formal acknowledgement, but yes, there was this Sufi singer Grewal who wrote this beautiful song and sang it called the Anthem. But it's our responsibility as civil society to actually spread this kind of information, to communicate that there are other narratives. And it's very important to actually now reconnect all the many interventions and initiatives that are taking place at which have not died. They're continuing. It's not only Sapan, it's not only PIPFPD, it's not only Sandeep. There are multiple such initiatives. We need to link with them. We need to strengthen them. There needs to be mutual. I'll just finish with one thing. Okay, well, just the women thing. I think it's very important to recognize that women have always refused to recognize borders, and we need to strengthen that.
Right. Thank you so much, Rita, and thank you for bringing out those really important points. It reminds me of your report you wrote after the Kargil War, I believe it was, about the media's role in reporting. And one thing that you said in that thing still sticks with me. I'm not quoting exactly, it has been a long time, but what you said was something like the media presents the situation as if there is no alternative but war. I remember what you said then, and that is even more true now, where because the media is now, there is no one media, there was never a hegemony anyway, and now it is even more fragmented with social media and all of that. So, but as you said, that we have to sort of keep somehow bringing out the narratives, and you did that very well in your article. And I think pretty much all the points that most of the points you spoke today are in that article of yours, which I've posted in the chat as well, that we published in Sapan News, which Pakistani readers couldn't access without a VPN, and now hopefully they can. So I think that we have to really and to also remind ourselves to that, regardless of the abuse, and regardless of, as you said, to regardless of what obstacles we face, and the way we are attacked on social media, we have to keep on keeping on, and we have to on doing this work, this really important work. With that, I'm going to ask Dr. A.H. Nayyar, another old friend and comrade in peaceful arms, peacemongers, as we call ourselves. Nayyar is a physicist and activist from Pakistan, and he has been part of the anti-nuclear movement. He's been part of the Pakistan-India People's Forum for Peace and Democracy for as long as I've known him, and a very prominent educator as well. So Nayyar, if you can turn on your video and turn on your mic, and you have the same 6-7 minutes. I did not, Rita, give you the 1 minute heads up because you were going in full flow, and I thought you were just ending.
But thank you, sorry.
No, not at all. No, just went over back up. So Nayyar, can you unmute yourself, and can you start? Nayyar, are you there? Is Nayyar been bumped off? Hello, Nayyar. I see that he's the co-host. Nayyar, there you are. Yeah, अपना वीडियो आप ऑन नहीं कर रहे Nayyar?
मैं दोनों ऑन करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, हो नहीं रहा है मुझसे वीडियो ऑन।
I think there's some problem with your video. पहले भी नहीं हो रहा था आपका वीडियो ऑन।
हाँ, तो लेकिन आवाज आ रही है ना?
Yeah, we can hear you. So go ahead, and we can see your photographs. So that's fine. Yeah, please carry on. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I will in these 5 minutes I will try and just focus on
6-7 minutes you have, but yeah, go ahead.
ठीक है। तो असल में तो सारी बात जो है वो ये है कि हमारे मुल्कों के दरमियान अब जो मेजर रोड ब्लॉक्स हैं दोनों मुल्कों के अच्छे ताल्लुक, अच्छे रिलेशंस के बीच में, वो एक तो वही है कि हमारे मुल्क अब एक दूसरे के अंदर जो इंसर्जेंसीज हैं उनको, इंसरेक्शंस को, उनको सपोर्ट करते हैं। पाकिस्तान बहुत अरसे से सपोर्ट करता आ रहा है, रफली फ्रॉम द बिगनिंग, और इंडिया ने अभी रिसेंटली शुरू किया है। तो ये एक अब ऐसा बन गया है कि जिसकी वजह से इनके दरमियान बहुत शदीद बैड ब्लड पैदा हो गया है। दूसरी बात जो है वो ये है कि ये इन्होंने जैसे परवेज ने भी कहा कि ओवरफ्लाइट्स बंद कर दी हैं, ब्लॉक कर दी है, ट्रेड बिल्कुल ख़त्म हो गया है, और ट्रेड के अंदर ऐसी चीज़ें हुई हैं कि जो न सिर्फ हमारे वास्ते ख़राब हैं बल्कि हमारे पड़ोसियों के वास्ते भी ख़राब हैं। अफ़गानिस्तान हमारा एक पड़ोसी है। अफ़गानिस्तान को इंडिया से बहुत बड़ी ट्रेड होती थी, और इंडिया के लोगों, इंडिया में की ट्रेड जो थी उसके पाकिस्तान से गुजर के जाया करती थी। पाकिस्तान ने वो बंद कर दी है, उसकी वजह से वहाँ मुश्किल हुई है, और वो मुश्किल जो है वो पाकिस्तान और उसका एक रिपरकशन फेस करने लगा है कि जो पाकिस्तान इंपोर्ट करता था अफगानिस्तान से, अब वो भी सब बंद हो गया है। लिहाजा पाकिस्तान को इसका मुश्किल का सामना करना पड़ रहा है। तो ये सब चीज़ें हैं। इसके साथ साथ अब इंडिया ने अब थ्रेटन कर दिया है कि वो पाकिस्तान का पानी बंद कर देगा, इंडस रिवर को पूरा कंट्रोल करेगा और पाकिस्तान को परेशान करेगा। तो एक लिहाज से ये दोनों मुल्क जो हैं वो एक दूसरे को पनिशमेंट के मोड में है कि ये एक दूसरे को पनिश करता है, दूसरा जो है वो अपनी तरफ से पनिश करता है। एक किस्म के ये पनिशमेंट के मोड में हैं ये दोनों, और दोनों इसको एक पनिश कर रहे हैं। मैं थोड़ा सा एक बात ये कहना चाह रहा था कि एक तो इंटरफेरेंस की बात हमने की, एक दूसरे के मुल्कों में इंटरफेरेंस करते हैं, लेकिन मैं एक बात ख़ास तौर पे कहना चाह रहा था कि जो मैं समझता हूँ कि पाकिस्तान के वास्ते बाज़ ख़ास चीज़ें हैं जो इरिटेंट्स हैं और जो पाकिस्तान और इंडिया के दरमियान निगोसिएशंस को आगे बढ़ने नहीं दे रही। हालांकि हम बात सारी जो है वो सिविल सोसाइटी की कर रहे हैं कि सिविल सोसाइटी कैसे मिलना शुरू करे, कैसे आपस में बातचीत करे, और कैसे हम इस चीज़ को इसको ओवरकम करें जो रिस्ट्रिक्शंस हैं। लेकिन कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो इस वक्त पाकिस्तान ख़ास तौर पे महसूस करता है। वो दो चीज़ें तो ऐसी हैं कि जो शिमला अकॉर्ड से मिली थी, और वो अकॉर्ड इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के बीच में है, और पाकिस्तान जो है उसको फॉलो कर रहा है, लेकिन इंडिया उसको फॉलो कर रहा है, लेकिन पाकिस्तान समझता यह है कि उसको उसको जिस चीज को फॉलो कर रहा है वो ठीक नहीं है। वो क्या है? पहला है बायलेटरलिज्म का। बायलेटरलिज्म का मतलब यह हुआ कि अब किसी और थर्ड पार्टी को आके दरमियान में मीडिएट करने की इजाजत नहीं होगी। सिर्फ ये दोनों मिलकर आपस में अपने मामलात निपटाएंगे। इसमें यूं होता है, पाकिस्तान का जो कुछ शिकायत है वो ये है कि जब भी पाकिस्तान इसके बारे में आगे बात करता है तो गोल पोस्ट जो है वो थोड़ी सी आगे हो जाती है और पाकिस्तान जो है वो बात नहीं कर पाता, बात रह जाती है। दूसरी बात जो एक और हुई थी वो ये हुई थी कि जैसे सीज फायर लाइन थी जो चेंज हो गई थी सिविल अकॉर्ड में, लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल में, तो वो उसकी वजह से यूएन जो है वो बिल्कुल बाहर हो गया है। पहले यूएन के ऑब्जर्वर ग्रुप्स यहाँ पे होते थे कश्मीर में, और वो एक लिहाज से कश्मीर का मामला जो है, इसी वजह से इंडिया ने कश्मीर के का जो एजेंडा था यूएन का उसमें से उसको यूएन से बाहर निकालने की कोशिश की। ये दो तीन बातें थी कि जो पाकिस्तान को बहुत इरिटेट करती रही हैं, और अब इस वक्त जो आखिरी चीज़ है जो इरिटेट कर रही है वो यही है कि इंडिया ने कहा है कि अब पानी पे कंट्रोल हमारा है और हम इस कंट्रोल को पूरी तरह एक्सरसाइज करेंगे। पाकिस्तान कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग एट ऑल अबाउट इट। तो अब इन दोनों मुल्कों के दरमियान गुड फेथ को दोनों हम चाहे हम सिविल सोसाइटीज़ के दरमियान में और हमारे जो पीस लविंग शहरी हैं उन लोगों के दरमियान तो दोस्तियां बढ़ाएंगे और आपस में ताल्लुकात बढ़ाएंगे, लेकिन इन दोनों मुल्कों के दरमियान जो थोड़ी सी ये प्रॉब्लम्स हैं इनको भी सॉर्ट आउट करने की ज़रूरत है, और इसमें उनकी कोई हेल्प कहीं से हमें तलाश करनी चाहिए। मेरा ख्याल ये है कि हमारे अपने तमाम जितना एजेंडा है उसके अंदर ये चीज़ें शामिल होनी चाहिए। फिलहाल तो हम समझते ही हैं कि हमारा जो सबसे बड़ा काम है वो तो ये है कि दोनों मुल्कों में जो टेंशन्स हैं बहुत ज़्यादा उनको हमें ख़त्म करने की ज़रूरत है। हम जो जो टेंशन्स हैं वो अब इस वक्त ख़ास तौर पे जबकि इंटरफेरेंस बहुत ज़्यादा एक दूसरे के मामलात में हो गई है, बहुत बढ़ गई है। हम अपने आप को भी ब्लेम कर सकते हैं, लेकिन हम जानते हैं कि दूसरे लोग जो हैं वो भी सबक सिखाने के मूड में हैं, और वो जब तक उनके हाथ नहीं रोकेंगे बात जो है बिगड़ती चली जाएगी।
Right.
साथ साथ जो हमारे लोग हैं, लोगों का आपस में मिलना जुलना वो बढ़ाना चाहिए, ट्रैवल को ओपन अप करना चाहिए, वीज़ा पॉलिसीज़ को नरम करना चाहिए, स्टूडेंट्स और टीचर्स को ख़ास तौर पे उनके 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 जो ट्रैवल हैं उनको फैसिलिटेट करना चाहिए। हमें ट्रेड को ओपन करना चाहिए। देयर वाज अ वेरी लार्ज वॉल्यूम ऑफ ट्रेड बिटवीन इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान एट वन टाइम। अब इस वक्त सूरत हाल जो है वो ये कि वो ज़ीरो हुआ है बिल्कुल, और ये जो ट्रेड है इसको भी फैसिलिटेट करना चाहिए, और इंडिया, पाकिस्तान और अफगानिस्तान के साथ जो एक ये ट्रायो है इसका ट्रेड का, इसको भी हमें आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए। ओपन अप स्काइज के बारे में परवेज ने बात की है। मेरे पास दरमियान में कनेक्शन बिल्कुल ख़त्म हो गया था, मुझे नहीं मालूम कि और लोगों ने क्या कहा है। ओपन अप स्काइज होनी चाहिए और हमारी ओवर फ्लाइट्स जो हैं उनको अलाउ करना चाहिए। ये बहुत गलत रवैया है, उसकी वजह से तमाम कनेक्शन जो हैं वो ख़त्म हो जाते हैं।
Right.
फिर मेरा ख्याल ये है हम सबको ये तजवीज़ करना चाहिए कि एक इंडिया पाकिस्तान कमीशन फॉर म्यूचुअल रिलेशंस बनवाना चाहिए, ऐसा जिसमें वो एक परमानेंट सा कमीशन हो जो जब कभी देखे कि टेंशन्स बहुत हो गई हैं और बातें जो है बिगड़ती जा रही हैं, कुछ लोग उनको और बिगाड़ते जा रहे हैं, तो वो कमीशन जो है वो दरमियान में इंटरवीन करके उन चीज़ों को ठीक करने की कोशिश करें। और आखिर में सबसे बात जो है इम्पोर्टेंट बात वो सार्क की है कि सार्क एक ज़माने में था और मेरे ख्याल में उसकी वजह से साउथ एशियन आइडेंटिटी जो थी वो बहुत इस्टेब्लिश होती थी, वो ख़त्म हो गया। हमें उसको रीएक्टिवेट करना चाहिए। जो ये शायद हमारे सबके लिए अच्छा हो। और सबसे आखिर में ये है कि हमारे पास दरमियान में पढ़ के हमें जोर देना चाहिए कि ये हम दोनों मुल्क एक दूसरे की जो वॉर की जो मशीन्स हैं उनको ज़रा क्वाइटिंग डाउन करने के वास्ते, उनको ठंडा करने के वास्ते हमें कोई नो वॉर का एग्रीमेंट पैक्ट वगैरह करवाना चाहिए इन दोनों मुल्कों के दरमियान में, ताकि ये फौरन जरा सी बात के ऊपर लड़ने के ऊपर खड़े ना हो जाए. I stop over here.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nayyar. Right, closing right on time. Thank you so much. You raised some very important points, as did all the other speakers also, of course. But I think you brought up 3 points that I think I just want to repeat. One of them is the importance of trade, especially the cross-border trade. Nayyar, as you said, कि बिल्कुल बंद हो गई है दोनों तरफ से, मगर it is coming through third countries. It is still happening. Medicines, food, luxury items, consumer goods, they are still getting into the other side via a third country. And of course, that's so much more expensive. So ek wo hai. Then the student-teacher exchange point, I think, is really important. And the question of SARC. SARC maybe has not had a meeting, a joint SARC convention has not taken place since 10 years now. आखिरी meeting Islamabad में होनी थी. India did not come because there was something else had happened, and वो शुरू कर दी थी अपनी, as Rita pointed out, the terror and talks policy, which needs, the rigidity of which has really stopped any kind of uh, uh, people from connecting. So that has to be, but the SARC, but I just want to add that the SARC bodies are still functioning. Unki literary body hai, environmental commission hai, film commission, whatever. There are lots of SARC community subcommittees that are still functioning. So we need to find out maybe more about those and let them and again, like Rita suggested, highlight a lot of these issues. Is OP Shah Sahab here? OP Shah Sahab is a campaigner for India-Pakistan peace. Originally, he was based in Calcutta. He has brought out 2 volumes on India and Pakistan with a compilation of essays. And he also holds these regular dialogues. I think one of the speakers before mentioned that there are so many different things coming, strands that are taking place, online dialogues, and OP Shah's is one of them. Sunilji, I can see you, but Shah Sahab mujhe nazar nahi aa rahe. Is he here? OP Shah Sahab? Sunil Vatal? Shah Sahab, are you here? Does Rishi आपको नजर आ रहे हैं?
Shah
Sunil ji,
Sahab
is Shah
had
Sahab
joined,
here?
but I think he has dropped off. Let me just check.
Okay.
Uh,
So we don't.
he's there. He's there. He is
He's
there.
there. So can
He
he
needs to be
unmute himself?
unmuted. I think you have muted him.
No, I have not muted him. Shah Sahab, where is? Can he turn on his camera so we can see where he is? Shah Sahab, अपना camera on कर दीजिएगा. Sunil, can you see
He
him?
is there.
Sunil, can you see where he is? And can you?
Yes, he is. If I see in the list of participants, I can see him.
I
But he
can.
is just probably dropped off. Wait. I was
So
able to
Shah Sahab,
see
if you're
him.
here, can you turn your camera on and wave or something, or unmute yourself, please? I don't see him.
No, I think he was trying to unmute and he's dropped off.
He's
Maybe
dropped off.
we'll have to wait till he rejoins.
Well, the problem is that we are at capacity, so if he rejoins, he cannot come in. There are several people in the waiting room already, मगर उनको हम admit
Okay.
नहीं कर रहे हैं. And Rishi had very clearly said कि I hope nobody else is admitting people in the from the waiting room because
No, Shah Sahab was there, but then he has dropped off now. I don't
okay,
see him
okay.
now.
Chale, we'll move on to Saeeda
Binaji,
Deep.
if Shah Sahab was in the list of speakers,
Yes.
either we should make him co-host or we have to give him permission to unmute himself.
Yes, but I
So
can't.
we'll-
But what Sandeep ji is saying is that Shah Sahab has dropped out. He is no longer in the meeting, so he might not be. He might. I think it seems that he has left or he has had to drop out because वो connection के issues भी होते रहते हैं. So if he comes in again, then we will, and you see him in the waiting room, then we will just ask somebody to kindly step out so we can admit him, or somebody might drop
No,
out by then.
अभी हमारे पास 99 पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं और
Okay.
किसी को भी और एडमिट ना करें अगर वो
नहीं
स्पीकर
नहीं
ना
कर
हो
रहे हैं
तो
नहीं कर रहे हैं so
Okay.
Sunil, can you check with him and we'll admit him when he comes back, and in the meantime let me ask Deep to please take the floor. Deep is a very long time committed peace activist like everybody else in the group. And Deep also runs the Center for Peace and Secular Studies in Pakistan for a very long time. Deep, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ. I will tell you.
Thank you, Beena. I really appreciate Sandeep. मैं वॉलंटरली चाहती हूँ कि मेरी जगह पे आप मणिशंकर आयर जी, बिकॉज वो स्पीकर की लिस्ट में नहीं है, तो आप उन्हें
वो
बुला लें।
उनको हम क्लोजिंग रिमार्क्स के लिए बुलाएंगे दीप, सो डोंट वरी अबाउट इट, आपकी जगह लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. यू प्लीज कैरी ऑन, वील गिव हिम 6 minutes.
So जो भी बातें यहाँ कही गई हैं, आई एग्री विद मोस्ट ऑफ दिस. एक जो आखिरी बात मैं कहना चाह रही हूँ कि 7 जून को 4-5 दिन पहले वाघा बॉर्डर पे AR रहमान, इम्तियाज साहब जो फिल्म बनाते हैं, और वो उस फिल्म की पूरी कॉस्ट जो है इंडियन साइड पे वाघा बॉर्डर पे देवर देयर, वहाँ पे AR रहमान गाना गा रहे थे वाघा बॉर्डर पे. तो मैं ये कहना चाह रही हूँ बीना, बिकॉज यू आर द right person. That's why I'm saying how we can generate resources to invest in peace. Like when Mahesh Bhatt, he has been part of this Pakistan-India peace process, and he's a filmmaker. And whenever he was here in the meetings, he always said that we should invest in peace. So this A.R. Rahman and those people, just 4-5 days ago, like the situation is same, but they were at the Wagah border, and there were news about on social media. So I wanted to say to Sandeep that we should immediately decide the third place where few people who can manage to come and meet. And I agree with this charter of demand, and visa is the first thing. Like divided family, they should be on priority. They should be granted visa, and spouses and all that. That's what I don't want to take longer. So I would love, Kavita is also here. Probably she can speak, and Arundhati is also here. Thank you.
थैंक यू सो मच दीप. और आपने जो बात की वीज़ा वाली, आई रिमेंबर द कैंपेन दैट यू रैन, वीज़ा खोलो दिल से बोलो, that was plastered across buses and rickshaws in Lahore particularly, and that slogan milne do that we started in Aman Ki Asha, wo bhi tha. And I think that is still the main thing that drives so many of us, that desire to meet. And like Pervez said right in the beginning, Zoom calls are all very well, but we want to be able to meet physically. And right now the only country which has a direct connection with all South Asia is Sri Lanka, actually, because Nepal, there are no direct flights from Pakistan. I think Bangladesh might have just started, but right, and India and Pakistan next to each other, they don't have direct flights. I remember jab 2004 में World Social Forum हुआ था, Nirmala Didi was there. Deep, you were also there, and there were so many of us from Pakistan who went, and the people who went from Lahore had gone because जब वो हुआ था 2004 का, तो उस वक्त the flight between Karachi and Bombay had closed, and of course it is not there anymore either. But I remember that I decided at the last minute to go when the Karachi Bombay flight opened, and I got the visa literally at the last minute, and I went directly. But you guys who had taken the train and gone, and people from Karachi who had gone, like I remember Karamat was there, and he had gone, and they wanted to go back also, directly. Bombay Karachi kitna fasla hai. But because of the visa regime, you have to enter and exit from the same point of entry or exit using the same mode of transport. So they had to go all the way up to Lahore and then down to Karachi. I remember Karamat complaining about that. And ye abhi tak ye hai. And I'm sorry, I'll take up one more second.
Beena, I just wanted to add one thing. Mr.
Yeah.
O.P. Shah, since this Operation Sindoor, and he has been on social media, like on these Zoom meeting, he has been very active. All the ex-ambassador from India and Pakistan, like kind of track too on the Zoom. So I think it is very important if we can bring him back here and he can say a few words. Thank you.
Yeah, I thank you, Deep. And yes, absolutely.
O.P. Shah ji has joined the meeting. Yes.
Okay. So Deep, we'll give him. Thank you, Deep. I just wanted to add 1 minute before Opi Shah, if he can unmute and turn his camera on, and then I just want to add this one very small point but very important point about cross-border prisoners. जो हमारे अपने we treat our own prisoners so badly. तो एक दूसरे के जो across the border prisoners होते हैं, and most of them are the fisher folk, and they are stuck there in the jails, and they have no way of connecting with their families. Jatin Desai has been active in this for a very long time and has made this thing that, now with these Zoom calls and all, why cannot they be allowed to speak to their families on Zoom or at least on a call? मगर ये एक सिलसिला unfortunately चल रहा है. So I will ask OP Shah. There he is. Hello, Shah Saab. Nice to see you. Glad you could rejoin. So I already introduced you before you had come in, so I'm just going to give you the floor, and you have about 6-7 minutes to just talk about the topic. And thank you. Please, Shah Saab. And yes, I just want to say कि आपका पाकिस्तान का visa almost approved भी हो गया था earlier this year, but you were not able to come.
अप्रूव नहीं, मेरे को मिल गया था.
जी बताइए.
The correct description is मुझे
जी.
वीसा मिल गया था, मैं नहीं आ पाया कोई कारण से.
Yes.
I think all that I wanted to say has been said, and the 2 points which the Pervez and Nayyar mentioned needs to be considered seriously. That lack of trust, especially whenever there is any trouble, we accuse the neighboring country for the trouble which is there in our. How do we deal with this situation? That is the point that we need to consider. And it's very important that if you are able to find out something worthwhile, something which will create climate of trust and confidence, and which would help us to make substantial changes in this situation that we have today. It is unfortunate situation that there is some problem in the Jammu and Kashmir, and we always blame each other for what happens. Can we not find some way of having a serious dialogue on the subject and really come to some conclusion, find out the strategy which needs to be followed, find out the work which should be done by civil society activists? Many of them are present here today. Unless we do that, we would hardly make any significant difference. All the points which are relevant have been covered by the other speakers. But my real anxiety is that we need to ensure there is trust and confidence in each other. And how do we ensure that trust and confidence exist? And this is what we need to take care of and work really hard and honestly. And unless we do that, we would not be able to achieve, will not be able to bring about the changes that we have in mind. Thank you very much once again for organizing this meeting. Very useful and effective and meaningful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Shah Saab. I just also had mentioned in the when I was introducing you about the book that you had brought out, In Pursuit of Peace, and so I've just added a link to the chat. उसका Google Drive में हमने डाल दिया था in the Sapan News Google Drive. It's there. So thank you very much, Shah Saab. I'll now hand the floor over. I'll now hand over to Lalita Ramdas, who is a long-time crusader for peace, who everybody here knows. Lolly, as I call her, we met just once, I think, Lolly. You and Ramu, her late husband, Admiral Ramdas, who always is with us, and he is very much there in spirit even today. Lolly and Ramu are also part of the Sapan and among our founder members, like many of you here are part of that. And Lolly has been most energizing and inspiring companion to have along the way in our intergenerational, collaborations that we do. So Lolly, please go ahead, and then I'm going to ask Mani Shankar Iyer to give the closing remarks. So you have 6 minutes, and then we'll have a quick round before I give it to Mani Shankar ji, before we just have a quick round once more from all of you, if anybody wants to say anything before we open it up and I give it to Mani Shankar. Go ahead, Lolly.
Great, wonderful. The nice thing about coming right at the end is that actually everybody else has said almost everything that I had on my list to talk about. So that's been good. It's also actually very reassuring to know that so much of the thoughts that we are sharing, that all of us really are on the same page in terms of the ideas that have been put on the table, the concerns that we share, and the kind of issues that we think we need to have. I just wanted to start with a little anecdote though. मैंने एक I don't know what it was a Pakistan India People's, not the forum but something else on Facebook, and I put out this notice and I got a message which maybe some of you have seen. Arey, why are there only old people on the panel? No, they're obviously lumped anybody who has a little bit of gray hair. I guess I am the oldest amongst this group, but I said to myself, and I told this person, thank you, that's a very important observation. It's a good question. And we have been actually engaging with this issue of how do we involve younger people. Each one of our groups has done various things and tried various things. And Rita mentioned, I think, an important factor, that there is this kind of fear that if young people now get involved with anything to do which has the name Pakistan in it, regardless of how relevant it is, how important it is, they tend to back off. And I think that for me, what is also very important, and this is work that we have to do as individuals, civil society organizations within India. And I'm carrying on from what O.P. Shah had to say, that until we are also able to in some way handle this terrible situation that has been developing, the kind of toxicity of dealing with the Muslim community in India and linking them deliberately to Pakistan, I think that has created a very different situation inside the country in terms of trying to build solidarity and trying to build support for peace with Pakistan. So I think that is one agenda we tend not to talk about so openly, but I think that it needs to be, sort of viewed up front, because if we don't do that, I think the question of having to, to really sort of build other solidarities is going to get difficult. This has got to be something that our organizations, the groups who work on the ground, we need to be, addressing this issue. Because under the present regime, and this is where it has become so bad, it's not going to change in a hurry. It's got to be people who will have to then, talk about it and deal with it. Now, I want to just, since most of the points have already been mentioned, and I'm sure there are questions from the floor, I want to really not go into many of the other points that I was going to make, except to add one more thing before I go into a kind of a action point, list of action points that I had put together. But I sent this information round to over 100 people that I know, my friends, colleagues, and so on. Apart from maybe a handful of cynical responses, "Arey yaar, kuch nahi hone wala hai," every single one of the others said, "What a good idea. We need to do this. Let us know what we can do. How can we help?" So I believe that actually there is an interesting shift amongst a number of people who are realizing that unless these two large neighbors spending billions of rupees, dollars, whatever it is, on war machines, where the millions in both our countries continue to remain in such conditions of poverty. This is one set of, I think, awareness which is coming up. In a very strange, perverse way, it's the war in West Asia and what has happened now with Iran having also been, part of this attack, and the impact that it has had in economic terms on oil, on gas, on prices in the, as I said, the war has come into the kitchen, as somebody said. All of this, I believe, is something that we actually need to use in order to find leverage for our demand that we need to talk to each other, that this situation of war and hostility and suspicion cannot continue. And I think that that's where we need to do some clear, important and strategic thinking as to how we are going to actually handle that issue. So coming basically to some of the points have already been repeated, but I'd like to say it again. I feel it's an absolute priority for us to revive or demand the revival and invest in an energized and effective SARC. Because there are regional associations like ASEAN and so on that have worked so well, I think that that has made a big difference to the way in which even an India-Pakistan question needs to be addressed within the South Asian context. There was a very interesting proposal that came from a couple of the Fauji veterans that I had sent this note to, that maybe we need to also suggest what he called low-hanging fruit. And he was referring to Siachen, and to say that maybe Big Brother India can actually make a proposal to resolve the Siachen issue, since no purpose is being served by keeping our boys up there at those absurd heights, dealing with frostbite and everything else. And he says that a package actually has been worked out. And if we can go into some kind of confidence building measures, demilitarize and save lives, because not a shot has been fired actually since 2003. Now, this is something that I don't know much about, but here again is a suggestion coming from somebody who is a veteran, and it's perhaps an interesting thought that we could think about. We've recently had a lot of discussion around divided families. I think others have also mentioned it today. Maybe that's one of the areas where we can start with making a demand, that whether it's the divided families in Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan and Ladakh, and in other parts of the borders, that they be allowed at least to meet. Perhaps somebody might respond a little more positively to that demand. I think the idea of at least reviving the idea of a no-war pact, I somehow thought we might have discussed some part of it today, but I looked through what Nayyar Saab had actually proposed as a draft. I think it's a good draft, but I think that we need to work it out a little more in detail, and to see how best would this actually then be done. And personally, I think we had worked a lot at one point of time. That's, of course, how Beena and Ramu and I met on a nuclear-free South Asia, and to talk of denuclearization, which I think we have not actually even mentioned, again in the context of West Asia, Sindoor, the threats and the saber rattling that goes on each time we talk about, yes, we will use a nuclear weapon. I think that this is a time when that also needs to be revisited.
Thank you.
Time, just one last point.
Ji.
For any of this to happen, I believe that we need to engage with the political leadership in both our countries, because all of this sounds good, but much of this can only happen when we get the okay from the political leadership. And I feel we need to evolve a detailed plan where we talk to leaders of the opposition and try and get to talk to people in the RSS, as I think it was Rita or somebody who said, they've made this suggestion. Well, write him a letter and say, we want to follow up. It's a good suggestion. This is what we want to do. Give us visas. We want to meet, with that many people in Pakistan, or allow them to come here. So I think that there are many of these things we need to follow up on. And ultimately, as Ramu always said, there is no military solution to the problems that we have. And I think that the kind of jingoism, the militarism that has been evidenced, certainly on this side of the border, and I guess maybe you're seeing it on the other side, that is something which we have to, I think, work at while dealing with it with the people that we interact with. So I'm just going to end there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, Lolly. Thank you so much. And thank you for, again, bringing up SARC and very important point about the denuclearization, definitely. And the fact that no shot has been fired in Siachen. We have actually several veterans from the peacemongering movement here, as well as we have, I saw Colonel Pawan Nayyar here, and he has been deployed in Siachen. And that's how I actually got to meet Colonel Pawan Nayyar. We never actually physically met, but we've been in constant contact for many years, because he wrote this wonderful series on Twitter about Siachen. So I think I would consider him an expert on Siachen.
He actually sent me the suggestion.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Yes. So maybe we can ask Colonel Pawan Nayyar if he would like to say a few words as well during the Q&A. And I want to actually ask all the speakers if you would just wouldn't mind coming on camera. And there are lots of questions in the chat. In the interest of time, we are already an hour and a half into the time that we started this meeting. And we had budgeted about 2 hours, I think, totally for this. As that's right, Sandeep, आपने ऐसे ही बोला था ना कि about 2 घंटे हम max करेंगे. But of course, if people want to go on beyond, they can. But then I know people have other things to do. I know I have other stuff as well. But I think in the next half an hour, if we could just have the speakers come in, look at the chat and see if you would like to take any of those questions. And I think I would also ask while they are doing that, I would also ask Colonel Pawan Nayyar if he would like to respond to what Lolly said. Pawanji, are you there? Would you like to say add to what Lolly said?
Can you hear me, Ji?
Ji, absolutely. Please.
Yeah, thank you. Well, actually, I have visited Siachen, and there were detailed discussions at the ministers' level and the DGMO level between India and Pakistan over several years, and it was almost a done deal. And why it troubles me is that we are putting our troops at altitudes which are almost in the death zone. So it is time now that we get out of there. Nothing is happening. We've got 10,000 soldiers on both sides deployed in a very ecological sensitive area, and it's spoiling the environment. We are losing soldiers. There are thousands, 1,000 soldiers on each side have been killed and several thousand wounded. It's time we get out of there. As a military man, I would say that. And, it could be the beginning of confidence with each other. And it's an easy thing. It's already been done. It just has to be decided by the political leadership on both sides. Thanks.
Right. Thank you so much for adding to what Lalita Ramdas said. I think that is definitely a very important point to bring up front and center on the resolution or whatever demands we are making at the end of this meeting. So, and I see Anuradha Bhasin also here. I know Kavita Ramdas was here briefly. I think she might have left. So would anybody from the speakers like to respond to anything that they see in the chat? There are actually a lot of, it's a bit overwhelming because there's a lot.
Veena,
Deep.
someone has suggested in the chat room that on 21st September, UN is a peace day. If people in white dress on both sides of in Wagah border, like Indian and Pakistani side, if we can gather on this peace day, I
Yeah.
think this is a great idea, and we don't
That's a
need
great idea.
visa. Yeah, thank you.
Only, yes, that's a great idea. They don't allow you to go right up to the Wagah border. I know A.R. Rahman was allowed because he was, but I know that both sides, they used to meet on
Yeah.
Wagah border on both sides and light candles and all. They just don't allow that at all anymore. But this on Peace Day to gather dressed in white, I think that's a great idea, which I saw that also in the chat. Thank you, Deep, for highlighting that. Anybody else would like to say something about the questions in the chat? There was a problem about why people are not countering the narrative. I think a lot of the things we all know कि क्या हो रहा है, what is wrong, we all know what is wrong, we all know how to fix it. The problem is that we don't have the power actually directly to fix it because the governments are the ones that have to make the policies and that have to allow the visas to give the visas to allow us to meet in each other's countries, and that is just not happening, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. Should we, Sandeep, आपको क्या, would you like to open the floor up and ask people to speak, or should we ask Mani Shankar ji to say something before that?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing, if I may.
Yes, please, Sheema. Yes, Sheema.
नहीं, संदीप पहले बोल। अच्छा, बस मैं सिर्फ ये ऐड करना चाह रही थी कि किसी ने चैट पे सजेस्ट किया था, and I think that's a brilliant idea कि like Lolly was also talking about youth, etc. तो मैं ये कह रही हूँ कि if we do one session on क्या कहलाता है Twitter's X, that because there are a lot of young people who come onto that. And they do think, peace is cool. So if we do a slightly lighter kind of a session on X, I think it will bring in a lot of young people who actually are very interested in peace. So just wanted to suggest that.
That's a really great idea to do it on X or Instagram, because most of them actually, even Twitter, a lot of people have left and have gone to Instagram. So that definitely is a very good idea as well. Yeah, yeah. So Sandeep ji, sorry to go back to you.
नहीं, मुझे लगता है कि अगर कुछ लोग कुछ बोलना चाहें 1-1, 2-2 मिनट में, तो उनको मौका दे दें और फिर मणिशंकर साहब अपनी अपनी बात रखें, और आखिर में मैं कुछ अनाउंसमेंट्स करना चाहूँगा।
Right. So Shakil Chaudhary would like his camera to be turned on. So I can't do that. Rishi, किस तरह से करना है अब ये?
बस कौन कितना करना है कैमरा ऑन?
हाँ,
ये कितना कैमरा ऑन करना है?
I think Shakil Chaudhary, I think maybe we can just allow everybody to turn their camera because we're at the end of the meeting, and if there's a disruption, then we'll just be able to see who it is and remove them.
मेरे ख्याल से अगर आप हैंड रेस करने के लिए बोले तो बेहतर रहेगा, क्योंकि एक साथ वैसे भी सब लोग नहीं बोल सकते।
सही है।
अगर कोई हैंड रेस करते हैं तो उन्हें हम लोग इनवाइट करेंगे।
वैसे ही करें।
Right. ऐसे ही करें। Yeah.
I think Anand has said he would like to say a few words. Patwar.
Yeah, Anand, please. And T.A. Bhutta has his hand up. Arvind, I'm so glad you got in. Arvind Saharan, I just want to say, really appreciate from New Zealand. He woke up at 2:30 a.m. to join this meeting. Thank you, Arvind ji, for joining. Arvind has been running a very popular Facebook Live thing, and I think maybe on YouTube also now. And bahut arse se he has been on this thing. So we have several hands up. We have T.A. Bhutta Sahab, and we have Arvind Saharan and Shakil Chaudhary. So I'll give it in the order that I saw them. So Rishi, T.A. Bhutta Sahab, and then Arvind, and then Shakil Chaudhary.
जी।
if we
शकील
can
चौधरी जी का माइक ऑन है।
and they can turn on their videos as well. If we can turn on their videos as well, allow them to turn their videos on, Rishi.
हाँ हाँ हाँ, हमने वो परमिशन दे दिया है, अगर वो वीडियो
Yeah,
ऑन कर
right.
देते
So you
हैं।
can turn your video on, Shakil. Shakil is a very senior journalist
I'm
based in, yeah.
I'm
And
unable to turn my video on.
who's this? Sorry, who's saying that?
Shakil.
शकील चौधरी
Ji, I'm unable to turn my video on. Earlier it was okay, but now I cannot turn it on.
It will be a problem.
Okay, I'm now.
Arvind is
my
beginning
video is
to-
on. So
हाँ, अब हम लोग आपको देख पा रहे हैं शकील भाई।
हाँ, शकील का कोई मसला है
नहीं, उनका
शकील-
वीडियो ऑन हो गया।
हाँ,
I'm
अरविंद का
unable.
हो गया, शकील का नहीं
हाँ,
हुआ।
अभी ठीक है। अब my video is I think on.
जी and Bhutta Saab also in Islamabad also had a question, so Bhutta Saab and then Arvind and then Shakil, please.
संदीप भाई, आनंद पटवर्धन जी भी शायद जुड़े हुए हैं, वो भी बोलना चाह रहे थे।
अच्छा,
जी
ठीक है।
please.
जी
Well,
जी
I'll actually I don't see Anand Patwardhan. I see Simantani, but I don't see Anand. And Simantani also has her hand up.
Yeah.
So let's take. Here's what I suggest. I suggest कि आप लोग सब जो हैं जो who want to speak, एक दो minute please अपना video on कर लें if you can, and unmute yourself and say that, and then we'll go back to the speakers if that's okay. Does that sound all right?
I see you today. मैंने Facebook पे आपका देखा message, then I have shared with so many persons and so many scholars and students of Islamabad
Sorry,
University.
Bhutta Saab, sorry, can I just ask you please अपना brief introduction करके and then make your comment in a couple of minutes.
My name is Diep Bhutta. I am scholar of cybersecurity and social media. I remain continue with so many such debate and discussions. I remember a few years back when we met at Kuch Khas and we talked about your father, Bina Server, father Server Saab, Dr. Server, and his contribution in the Student Federation, National Student Federation. I would like to share that what are the reason it happened that so many civil society of Pakistan side and India side, they took some step, one step ahead, and then something happened and two step back. I think civil society and all those peacemakers, they should play their role. No, it happened 14 years. Please.
Hello. Bhutta Saab, आपका
Echo.
there's some echo now. I think maybe
बाकी जो लोग बोल नहीं रहे हैं वो अपने माइक ऑफ कर लें।
I think maybe the echo happens if somebody is recording and there's something going on, but I don't know. Bhutta Saab कुछ बोल रहे थे and then it sort of disappeared.
मैडम मैं कह
Yeah,
रहा
there
था
you go. जी please.
कि कुछ स्टेप होते हैं दोनों साइड की जो सिविल सोसाइटी है और जो पीस मेकर हैं वो कुछ स्टेप लेते हैं, हम 2 स्टेप आगे जाते हैं, कुछ कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डिंग मेजर होते हैं, देन समथिंग हैपन और हम 10 स्टेप पीछे चले जाते हैं. एंड स्पेशली फ्रॉम लास्ट 14-15 years there are so many not a good condition between two neighboring countries, and we receive criticism and so many other things. I think the civil society and peacemakers, they also play their role, and they should pressurize, they should demand their government and all those who are in the power to
Thank
bring
you.
them on right way.
Ji, thank you so much, Bhutta Saab. Thank you for your comments, and definitely that's what we are trying to do to carry that forward. Arvind ji, please.
जी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। मैं आज अपनी बात उस जबान में कहूँगा कि जो ज़्यादातर लोगों को समझ में आए। तो पाकिस्तान मसला जो है वो शुमाली हिंदुस्तान का है, साउथ के लोगों का नहीं है, और साउथ के लोग हिंदी और उर्दू बड़ी अच्छे से समझते हैं। हम प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस जब देखते हैं DGISPR की तरफ से हों या कोई ये कहें कि बहुत ही ज़्यादा पॉलिटिकली चार्ज्ड किस्म का अगर कोई रेंट हो, तो हमारे पॉलिटिशियंस जिस ज़बान का इस्तेमाल करके लाखों करोड़ों लोगों तक पहुंचते हैं, हमें भी चाहिए कि उसी ज़बान में अपना ये अमन का, मोहब्बत का जो पैगाम है वो दोनों मुल्कों के आवाम तक पहुंचाएं। एट टाइम्स होता ये है कि हम इट फील्स लाइक इट्स एन एलीट क्लब of those individuals who can speak English, and the others feel left out. So I've been told by many of my friends कि यार अरविंद तुम लोग बैठ के ओपी शाह साहब और तुम सारे बैठ के बातें तो करते रहते हो, but you guys don't reach out to the masses, and that's been the complaint. So I guess we need to make use of the technology, थोड़ा सा उसका सहारा लें, और नेक्स्ट टाइम ऐसा कोई डिस्कशन हो तो उसको साइमल्टेनियसली आप जो जितने भी सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं उन पे ब्रॉडकास्ट करें और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को गेज करने की कोशिश करें, ताकि कम से कम मैसेज जो है वो इस रूम के बाहर जाए. बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो पार्टिसिपेट करना चाह रहे थे आज, मगर 100 ही लोग ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं, तो वो बदकिस्मती से नहीं कर पाए. तो ऐसे लोगों को केटर करने के लिए काश ये कोई फेसबुक पे, यूट्यूब पे, बाकी सारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे लाइव हो रहा होता, तो हम शायद यहाँ पे हजारों लोग आज कुछ पैगाम लेके जाते. बाकी बहुत अच्छी बातें हुई, एंड या लेट्स जस्ट कंटिन्यू. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvind. Shakil, and then Simanthini, Mohammed Malik, and Sudhir Gandotra.
Thank you, Beena ji. I had the
Shakil, थोड़ा सा adjust कर लें, we can आपका कट रहा है ऊपर से सारा. Your head is getting cut off.
Is that okay?
Kind of. We can that's you can adjust your screen so we can see the top of your head. That would be nicer. But we can.
I cannot see.
It doesn't matter. Carry on.
I cannot see myself. Yeah.
ठीक है.
I had the honor of being Beena Sarwar's colleague at the news in Lahore. और अभी मैं YouTube चैनल एक चलाता हूँ और उसके 1,20,25,000 nearly 25,000 सब्सक्राइबर्स हैं. And I have interviewed hundreds of Indians and Pakistanis. तो मेरे ख्याल में यहाँ ब्रेक जो है ना, आइस ब्रेक करना बड़ा ज़रूरी है. और उसमें अगर 200 प्रोमिनेंट इंडियंस एंड पाकिस्तानी, 100 पाकिस्तान से 100 इंडिया से एक जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट दें और वो दोनों मुल्कों के मीडिया में छपे और इंटरनेशनल मीडिया में, तो मेरा ख्याल है कि एक टॉकिंग पॉइंट कम से कम मिल जाएगा उन लोगों को जो कुछ करना चाहते हैं इसके लिए. ऐसे टीवी एंकर्स, ऐसे जर्नलिस्ट जो इस पर लिखें और वो जो इंटरव्यू करते हैं लोगों के, तो मेरा ख्याल है कि that could be a good beginning, starting point.
Great. Thank you, Shakil. Excellent. Thank you very much for doing that. Simanthini. Sorry, and somebody said Anand is also here.
Yeah.
There you are. Where? Is that you? Oh, you are Simantha. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
So, no, I'm talking about something which is not directly connected, but it is connected because yesterday we saw a wonderful film called The Voice of Hind Raja. I don't know if many of you have seen it or some of you have seen it, but it's a film that everybody must see, everyone in India and Pakistan. And it was banned by the Indian government, but the ban got lifted. Well, we had a small role. We did a petition to get it unbanned, and it did get unbanned. So now on the 19th, it's going to be released all over the country in 100 cinemas. And this is about a young girl, 6-year-old girl who was in Gaza, killed by the Israelis. But it's an amazingly beautifully made film, and anybody who sees that will know what war is about and the horror of it. So I think I'm just recommending it to everyone. In India, you can see it on the 19th onwards. I hope people in Pakistan also work to get it so that it can be seen all over.
That's great. And Anand, you've been doing great work on. You've been doing great work on bringing India, Pakistan together through your films and all also. So anybody who doesn't know Anand Pardhan, thank you, Anand. And you tell your Vikalp and Prithvi series is also really important.
That's all, that goes on.
Rishi, I don't know why there's an echo.
Echo बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया.
It was not there before, but now it is. Maybe somebody's recording somewhere and that's why it's happening. Sorry. And then we have Mohammed Malik, Sudhir Gandhara, and Mohammed Ayaz in London. Mohammed Malik, can you please unmute yourself and speak?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Please.
Okay. So I'm Dr. Mohammed Malik. I'm in US and Beena, excellent program. The discussion needs to be done. The talk has to be done. There's so much hatred, the Bollywood movies, Durindra, this and that. They're bent upon to show that Pakistan is an enemy. I'm worried about the Indian generation. They were secular at one time, and now there's so much polarity that they're becoming Taliban. For our aslamishment grows on this. When they show that Modi in India hates you so much, automatically they get all that support. So these dialogues will change the mind. And I agree that it has to be on all platforms. We're little on the boomer side, so the boomers have some technology challenges, but I would love to have a space, Bina, getting all those Indian intellectuals on that space, open it up. We have to change mind of those extremists in India and Pakistan, that we look alike, we are the same person. My best friend in my hospital is an Indian guy. I rely on him. When I leave the hospital, I called Mittal. I said, Mittal, मैं जा रहा हूँ, मेरे को पीछे backup करो. And when he does the same. तो हम दिखते एक जैसा है, गाते एक जैसा है, खाते एक जैसा है, गुनगुनाते एक जैसा है, लेकिन क्यों far apart? And this is because of the West. वेस्ट ने कश्मीर छोड़ दिया था ताकि हम लड़ते रहें और हम अपना बजट लोगों पे नहीं गोलियों पे खर्च करते रहें. We need this discussion so badly that it has to be on YouTube, on X, everyone. Bina, we follow each other on X. Let's do a space, get all these intellectuals on board. हम बोलेंगे बड़ा नफरत आएगी, बड़ी आपको फौरन गद्दार करार दे दिया जाएगा, but we will make a point. और इसी तरह change आती है. So I would really push you and recommend you कि let's do a space on X, let's do things on Facebook and YouTube and get this conversation and talking point and discussion going on. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Sudhir ji, Sudhir Gandhar.
Sudhir Gandotra.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sudhir Gandotra. And I think Dr. Malik's point and Arvind's point, Shakil's point, to get this thing on YouTube. Sandeep, जब मैंने कविता को बताया कि इसमें limited space है 100 लोगों की, तो कविता ने कहा कि हमसे बोल देते हम, anybody could have done it on a larger scale. So for next time.
हाँ, अगली बार हम इसका ख्याल रखेंगे.
Yeah. And then also like Arvind said, उसको live अगर टेलीकास्ट करें यूट्यूब पे, फेसबुक पे, उसका डेंजर ये होता है ऑफ कोर्स कि यू अट्रैक्ट द ट्रोल्स मोर, एंड वो सब तो होगा. एंड आई जस्ट वांट टू एक्चुअली एड्रेस दैट बिफोर सुधीर जी, इफ यू आर नॉट एबल टू इफ यू आर एबल टू स्पीक जस्ट बिफोर यू, आई जस्ट वांट टू ऐड वन थिंग कि वो तो हो गई, और हमें गद्दार तो बहुत पहले से करार दिया गया है, हमारे खिलाफ तो केसेस भी. सो दैट इज समथिंग, ये तो इट्स पार्ट ऑफ द पैकेज. अगर आपने पीस मॉन्गरिंग करनी है तो आपको ट्रेटर तो कहा जाएगा, और आपको कहा जाएगा कि दूसरे मुल्क में चले जाओ एंड ऑल दैट. सो वी जस्ट हैव टू keep our heads down and keep doing our work and not get distracted and not get swayed by that. Ji, Sudhir ji.
Pakistanis call me an RSS agent and Indians call me the ISI agent. So I have the privilege of being an agent
Arvind,
for both.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you, Arvind. I just want to keep it to the Sudhir ji, if you're speaking up, and then after that, Moayaz in London.
Hear me?
Ji, now we can. Go ahead, please.
So,
would you mind introducing yourself? Introduce yourself first, please, and then speak.
I am Sudhir Gandotra, living in Delhi. Both my parents came from Pakistan, and I have a dear brother in Lahore. The major dream of my life is to be able to travel to Lahore once a month, driving my car and come back with him.
Yeah.
Now, I represent the humanist movement, which is working against violence and discrimination across the world in more than 100 countries. I also coordinate a forum, which is called World Humanist Forum. I have given a brief introduction in the chat, which is a platform freely available to anyone, any organization working against violence and against discrimination. No charges, no obligations, nothing. Just use the platform and enjoy it. My request is to share this recording with or without YouTube, so that we can take it to many more people and bring many more people to the platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Yeah.
In some meeting, I would like to talk about, I'll send a brief introduction on how we can change our own mindset so as not to be the future criminals. Because everybody who's a criminal today was born normal, but something made them criminals. This needs to be prevented. Thank you very much.
That's a really good point, and I want to just add to that, Sudhir ji. It's a really important point, and humanist, of course, that is something that I would love to know more about that. Our way of moving forward is retributive, is punitive. One of the speakers said that we are punishing each other. So versus restorative justice, retributive versus restorative justice. So I think we have to really push for that as well.
Just as
More, yeah.
stop treating anybody as a criminal and help them transform
Help
themselves in
them.
the world into a better world.
Exactly. Because
Back more than
yeah.
12 years back, we and friends in Pakistan did form a party called Humanist Party of Pakistan, by the way. And
Right.
to a march, we've done many things like that. And I would like that all these efforts to come together so that whatever people are doing get multiplied by just being together. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Moyaz in London, would you introduce yourself briefly and then speak?
Yes, I can. I've even done my hair especially for you, but I can't turn the video on. So I could come on the video. Okay, if someone can put me on.
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
No problem. हमने टाई लगाई और बाल भी बनाया आपके लिए.
चलो कोई
लेकिन
बात नहीं.
what happened was I'm really privileged to be in this group. I'm the vice president of the Indus Peace Park project. We have no memorial to all the people in partition that passed away or were killed, etc. The inhuman humanity that existed at that time. My father was in the British Indian Army signals, then Pakistani signals. And he taught me that हमारा खून एक है, and we all do DNA test. हमारे जो haters होते हैं दोनों तरफ से, इंडिया में भी पाकिस्तान में भी, उनको DNA test कराओ. खून झूठ नहीं बोलता. So the thing is this, we are one blood, and we should realize I'm a proud Gujar. And I'm, according to the British Raj, we were Criminal Tribes Act. We were criminals. We are still portrayed as criminals in the Bollywood and the Punjabi media. So I know we are revolutionaries, and we believe there is no border. Radcliffe kaun tha? He was nothing. And if we can, as people to people, we people like Bina, Avand, and Chaudhry Shakil Saab, and all the people here that I don't know, we can make a movement because it's people to people that can change governments and also change how our governments react. Here in Britain, I'm a Rotarian. I'm a past assistant governor of London District Rotary. We are meeting local people in Parliament to see if what they can do, because ye Goro ne ye sab tamasha lagaya hamare liye. And we need to go to them and say to them, you've got this organization called the Commonwealth. Yeah, Commonwealth umbrella kis liye hai? We should get the Indians and Pakistan governments thinking together, working together, and those poor soldiers on both sides which are suffering and dying because of frostbite, ye bhi hamari bewakufi hai. We should understand that jang mein fayda nahi hota hai, nuksan hi nuksan hota hai. So that's where I'm coming from, and everyone here, we are all on the same wavelength, and I'm so happy and proud to be part of your group. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you so much. Says iPhone Nakwi, would you please unmute yourself and turn your camera on if you can and speak, and then Lalita Ramdas. And then then I'm going to go to Mani Shankar Iyer and we can have more questions after that if there's time.
G, hello. Can you guys see me or
we can't
hear me?
see you, but we can hear you.
Okay, good, good enough, ma'am. My name is Salman Naqvi. I'm in Canada. मैं सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक छोटा सा वाकया इधर ऐड करना चाहूँगा जो कि जेन्युइनली हुआ है 2018 में. It just for the interest of this whole debate that actually occurred. My own brother, I'm not going to name him, he was serving as a serving brigadier of Pakistan Army, and he was he was in a war course at Dhaka. I think that is the only place where Indian and Pakistani serving military personnels come together on a war course type of a footing. That is Dhaka. I don't know if it is still going on or not, but I just want to tell you an interesting story that he, and as part of this war course, they actually visited some countries together. One of them was Poland, Warsaw. और इत्तेफाक ऐसा था कि उन्होंने एक ही अपार्टमेंट या एक ही जगह ऐसा हुआ कि उन्हें रूम दो कमरे थे, एक वॉशरूम था। तो जब मेरे भाई ने अंदर किशोर कुमार के गाने लगाए हुए थे और बड़े मजे से सुन रहा था, तो वो उसका वैसा स्पीकर था छोटा सा, तो उस जब वो वहां से बाहर निकला तो दूसरे ब्रिगेडियर साहब जो कि इंडियन थे, उन्होंने कहा कि प्लीज आप इसको अंदर ही रखें, मैं भी यही सुनूंगा। और उसके बाद आई डोंट नो, मतलब कुछ ना कुछ हो रहा होगा बैकग्राउंड में, दोनों की इंटेलिजेंसेस उनको ऑब्जर्व कर रही होंगी यकीनन। बट एनीवे, सो इट वाज इन वॉर्सो इन पोलैंड। जो इंटरेस्टिंग बात हुई वो ये कि उसके बाद फिर जहां वो जिस होटल में ठहरे हुए थे, उसमें पहले द इंडियन काउंटर पार्ट वेंट फॉर ब्रेकफास्ट, और वो फिर वापस आए और उन्होंने फिर मेरे भाई से कहा कि आप मैंने नाश्ता कर लिया है, अब आप जाएं। और उसके बाद अगले दिन ये हुआ कि दोनों इकट्ठे नीचे गए और अलग अलग मेज पे बैठ के उन्होंने नाश्ता किया, और तीसरे दिन दोनों ने इकट्ठे एक ही मेज पे नाश्ता किया। तो दिस इज द वे द आइस वाज ब्रेकिंग between two serving brigadiers of Pakistan Army and Indian Army. और उसके बाद दोनों जो थे, तो just wanted to, I mean, there's an anecdote, I mean, the story, I just wanted
That's
to
a great anecdote and a
Yeah.
story about the human connection and the power of music and food. And you're absolutely right. Probably the intelligence of both sides might have been, but what happens when you actually meet? I think that's
Yeah.
really important.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to bring it up.
that's
Thank you
really
so much. Thanks for
Thank
giving me
you.
the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I see Yamima Mitta is also here, who is also appropriating Indian culture through having done her PhD in in classical music now. And she's the daughter of General Mitta and our great Bharatnatyam dancer Indu Mitta. Also, so nice to see you here, Yamima. Glad you could join. Lolly, please go ahead, and then I think Kumar Saab. I think. Then we'll have to. I do have to give it to Mani Shankar Iyer so
Yes.
we can close off. But let's. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just had to share. At least there is some bits of wonderful news about good things happening. There's a
Yes.
group called, which is Karwa-e-Mohabbat, which Harsh Mandir had started some time ago. Then we have said we're only talking about the bad things, the communal hatred, the killings, the lynchings. Can we recognize the good things that individuals have done and said? And so tomorrow, here in Hyderabad, there is the first of a series of events called Rehmat, and they have identified 8 amazing individuals from across the country who stood up against communalism, who saved somebody and lost their lives in the process. 2 of them are actually from Pahalgam. The pony man who was killed, and I am going to be talking about this wonderful young woman, a naval wife whose husband was killed on their honeymoon. This is Himanshi. And when 10 days after this horrible event happened, she was interviewed by the press, and she stood up and said, yes, what has happened to me is tragic, but I do not want innocent Kashmiris and innocent Muslims to be attacked and abused because of this. I mean, it was the most extraordinary thing. I wrote an open letter to her at that point, which went viral. And she is, I think, a symbol of the kind of courage that individuals actually show. And these are what we ought to be appreciating, admiring, and celebrating.
Thank
So
you.
just
Thank
wanted
you,
to
Rod.
share that.
Thank you. It's wonderful to know what you're doing. And I saw Mazhar Hussain also here from the Confederation of Voluntary Alliances, which is doing path-breaking work actually in Hyderabad. And I think they're also part of this Rehmat group, if I'm not mistaken, and who have been doing a lot of great work with interfaith and all that as well. So I'm going to ask Mr. Kumar, who has raised his hand, to please say something. And then we will ask Manishankar Iyer to say a few words before we conclude. Kumarji, you
Good
can, if you can put your camera on, that would be nice. But otherwise, just please speak. That's fine.
I can't get the camera going.
That's
Sorry.
all right. Go ahead. Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead, please.
It's been a great meeting. Now, I'm not sure of my figures, but I believe in 1947, India's population was around 345 million, and Pakistan and Bangladesh had populations of around 60 million. And today, India has shot up to 1.4 billion, with Pakistan and Bangladesh exceeding 200 million. Now, this rapidly increasing population and very poor literacy levels, is this going to be a hindrance to any peace activities that anyone may profess? Thank you.
Thank you for your question and comments. I'm going to now not try to answer that, because I think that's a self-evident kind of answer. So Manishankarji, if you could wrap it up in about 5-6 minutes, you can unmute. Manishankar Iyer, of course, also needs no introduction. He's a former member of parliament, prolific writer, great peace activist, has been was the first High Commissioner of Pakistan, of India to Pakistan. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong, but that's how you're accused of being anyway, Maniji. So has consistently upheld the values that we are here to talk about. Maniji?
Well, I wasn't actually a high commissioner. I was in a much more humble position as the Consul General of India in Karachi. And it was that experience, the experience of the enormous friendship I received from all sections of Karachi society, that persuaded me that everything I had learnt about Pakistan until my actual posting there was, to not put too fine a point on it, nonsense. And I'm thrilled that today we could have ended this program at the first 7 minutes, because everything that really needed to be said was said by Pervez Hoodbhoy, whose immense good sense is what both the governments and both the countries need. And I was very impressed also by Rita Manchanda's intervention, which added new dimensions to what Pervez had told us. It was my first time hearing Mr. A.H. Nayyar, and I too would like to bring him in to this pantheon of speakers who really, really said everything that needed to be said. And since my time is extremely limited, I will limit myself to just the remarks I've made. And I'm glad this is the first time I'm on this program. And I do hope I will continue to be invited by Sandeep and Beena to these encounters. I think it would broaden my mind and deepen my understanding. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maniji. I think this has been a really wonderful conversation. अरविंद, आपने बिल्कुल सही बात कही कि हम अवाम की ज़बान में नहीं बात करते ज़्यादा, एंड पार्टली दैट इज़ बिकॉज एटलीस्ट हम लोग जो काम कर रहे हैं साउथ एशिया पीस के हवाले से, तो लाइक यू सेड द प्रॉब्लम इज़ डेफिनेटली दैट ऑफ इंडिया पाकिस्तान, नॉर्थ इंडिया एंड नॉर्थ पाकिस्तान, जहाँ पे उर्दू हिंदी तो समझी जाती है ज़्यादातर. मगर अनफॉर्चुनेटली मसला भी वहीं पे है, एंड इफ वी जस्ट कीप स्टिकिंग टू दैट, तो मुझे लगता है कि आगे आगे गाड़ी चलती ही नहीं है. So that is why we decided to go for a regional approach, and many people have joined us. And like I said, we have 150 organizations that have endorsed this Charter for Regional Cooperation and upholding SARC, that many of you mentioned as well. So I think that we can, Sandeep ji, do you want to say a final word?
जी बीना, मैं बस कुछ आगे के प्रोग्राम्स के बारे में बता दूं।
जी.
पहले तो ये बहुत खुशी की बात है कि पिछले साल जब हम लोगों ने किया तो 100 लोग आ गए थे इस तरह की मीटिंग में भी, और इसके बाद जो यूथ की मीटिंग हुई थी। लेकिन शायद उस समय माहौल ऐसा था कि उसकी बहुत ज़रूरत थी, पहलगाम अटैक और ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बाद। लेकिन आज 1 साल के बाद भी इतने लोग ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं मीटिंग। इट शोज द ईयर्निंग फॉर पीस। और हमें लगता है कि इस प्रक्रिया को और आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए, इस प्रोसेस को। और आने वाले दिनों में जैसे हमने पिछले साल 7-8 मीटिंगें की, हम करेंगे। आज बहुत सारे लोग जुड़े हुए हैं जिनको हम मौका नहीं दे पाए बोलने का। अनुराधा भसीन जी हैं, कल्पना शर्मा हैं, एनडी जयप्रकाश हैं, अरविंद गुप्ता जी हैं। मैं किसी का नाम भूल रहा हूं तो माफ करेंगे। रशीद अहमद साहब जुड़े हुए हैं, जया जग्गी हैं, बहुत सारे लोग जो पहले मीटिंगों में रहे हैं। हम आगे आने वाले दिनों में यूथ की मीटिंग करेंगे, जर्नलिस्ट की मीटिंग करेंगे, एजुकेशनिस्ट की मीटिंग करेंगे, वर्कर्स और पेजेंट्स की मीटिंग भी करेंगे जो पिछली बार नहीं हो पाई थी। यूनियन के सब्जेक्ट पे भी करेंगे। और ये जो इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी है या वाटर शेयरिंग वाली जो बात है, इस पे भी करेंगे, जो पिछले साल नहीं हो पाई थी। और जैसा मैंने पहले बताया कि हम लोग वी आर एक्चुअली प्लानिंग टू हैव अ फिजिकल मीटिंग। आई हैव ऑलरेडी रिटन टू द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स। I don't hope to receive any response from them. But if we are not able to hold a meeting in India or Pakistan, then we will hold it in one of the neighboring countries or in the Gulf. So one host is already prepared to bear expenses for holding a meeting in Riyadh, but we are exploring other possibilities that should happen in 2 to 3 months. So that will be an opportunity for even people from outside India and Pakistan to participate. And there is, of course, a diaspora there in Gulf. Hopefully, they will also join. और अगस्त में जो ये एक सुझाव आया है कि हम बॉर्डर पे मिलें, तो आप में से ज़्यादातर लोगों को मालूम होगा 14 और 15 अगस्त की रात को कुलदीप नैयर साहब ने मोमबत्ती जलाने का काम शुरू किया था और दोनों तरफ लोग मिलते थे। हम लोगों ने 2 साल पहले कोशिश की, मानसा गांव से एक वाघा बॉर्डर तक की पदयात्रा निकाली। और मैं अरविंद सहारन जी को बता दूं कि वो एकदम दूसरे तरह का प्रोग्राम था, जिसमें हम लोगों के बीच में गांव वालों के साथ बातचीत करते हुए वहां जा रहे थे वाघा बॉर्डर तक। लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली दीप और बाकी साथी दूसरी तरफ आए हुए थे, लेकिन हम लोगों को गेट तक नहीं पहुंचने दिया गया, तो हम एक दूसरे को देख नहीं पाए। सिक्योरिटी ने हमको गेट से काफी पहले ही रोक लिया था। तो इस साल ये तय हुआ है कि होशियारपुर पंजाब में, और फॉर्चुनेटली पंजाब में अभी माहौल इतना हॉस्टाइल नहीं है। बाकी जगहों पे तो आप इंडिया पाकिस्तान पीस की बात करें तो आपको शायद काफी सुनना पड़ेगा, लेकिन फॉर्चुनेटली जो जो इंडिया का पंजाब है वहाँ पे अभी माहौल इतना खराब नहीं है। और हम इस पद यात्रा को, यानी पैदल चलेंगे होशियारपुर से वाघा बॉर्डर, और 14 की रात को पहुंचेंगे। और अगर सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस ने हमें जाने दिया गेट तक, तो उधर से जो साथी आएंगे पाकिस्तान के, उनको हम कम से कम देख पाएंगे, बातचीत भले ही न कर पाए। एक मीटिंग हुई थी जिसमें कविता श्रीवास्तव और अरुंधति वगैरह गए थे, मुझे परमिशन नहीं मिली थी, करतारपुर साहिब में। लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली करतारपुर साहिब इसमें जाना इस समय बंद है। जैसे ही वो गुरुद्वारे जाने का रास्ता खुलेगा, हम फिर गुरुद्वारे में भी मिलने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं, उसमें कम खर्चा होगा। बजाय इसके कि हम किसी तीसरे मुल्क में मिलें। और जो आनंद पटवर्धन ने गाजा की एक बात की, मुझे बहुत खुशी है। गाजा एक ऐसा मुद्दा हो सकता है जिसके लिए दोनों मुल्क की सरकारें शायद तैयार हो जाएं, अगर कुछ ज्वाइंट प्रोग्राम हो। और अभी मैंने कोशिश की एक ग्लोबल सुमित फ्लोटिला में जाने की, लेकिन मैं नहीं जा पाया। तो मैं सोच रहा था कि क्या एक यात्रा ऐसी हो सकती है जो हिंदुस्तान से शुरू हो और पाकिस्तान और ईरान, सीरिया, तुर्की, सीरिया होते हुए वो गाजा पहुंचने की कोशिश करे। इजराइल हमें जाने नहीं देगा, लेकिन अगर एक ज्वाइंट इंडिया पाकिस्तान और आगे के भी जो मुल्क हैं, ईरान, सीरिया, तुर्की वगैरह, उनके लोग भी शामिल हों और हम गाजा जाने की कोशिश करें, तो ये एक ऐसा मुद्दा है जिसमें हमारी दोनों सरकारों को शायद कोई बहुत ज्यादा दिक्कत नहीं होगी। तो हम लोग इसके बारे में भी सोच सकते हैं। अगली ऑनलाइन मीटिंग 27 तारीख को मैं प्रपोज कर रहा हूँ, यूथ की होगी। मैं जया जग्गी जुड़ी हुई हैं, आलिया आमिर अली आ नहीं पाई, हमने उनको बुलाया था। और दीप, जो लोग यूथ को मोबिलाइज कर सकें पाकिस्तान में भी और हिंदुस्तान में भी, वो अपने प्लीज वॉलंटियर करें। और हम कोशिश करेंगे कि 27 तारीख को, 27 जून को इसी समय 8 बजे हिंदुस्तान का समय और 7:30 बजे पाकिस्तान का समय एक इसी तरह की यूथ की मीटिंग हो। शुक्रिया। शुक्रिया बीना।
बहुत शुक्रिया संदीप, थैंक यू सो मच। थैंक यू टू दीप एंड ऑल्सो फॉर ऑर्गेनाइजिंग। आप लोगों ने ये किया, इट्स बीन वेरी गुड। सो आई थिंक खुदाफिज एवरीवन एंड
And thank you,
Rishi,
Veena,
thank you for organizing the tech
thank you
part.
for conducting, and thank you to all
Thank
the
you,
speakers.
Veena. Thank you.
नहीं, thank you. Thank you for asking me to. It's been my honor and pleasure.